Disgusting individual, absolutely enormously, selfish. And Joe is a person who sacrifices his life to save the life of a person. These two, so opposite characters, we have to then trace it where it's coming from. If it is due to the materials, the way they put together, well, these two bodies, they then have to show different kind of arrangement of material, but they don't, they're all the same. So immediately we ask them, this goodness and that badness of these two twins, they cannot be traced back to the material. It's got to have some other origin. That is very simple. When they die, like every other animals, anything that's materialistic, vegetable, animal part, mineral part, dies out and goes. The weight goes, the shape goes, the smell goes, and then the height goes, the growing goes, the strength goes, the sight goes, all that goes. Death is an animal. But what about the goodness? What about love? What about that power of sacrifice? What about those things? What about the thinking power, that designing power? Where's that going? Since it is not coming out of the material, it cannot be died out because of the material. That's a simple, very simple way of saying that, why the spirit of man continues to be. There are so many, reasons that one we can see. I'm sure most people that I've experienced in 54 years of my life, I have seen many people in the West, in the East, old, young, especially older, at least they have had once in their life a dream, a vision when they were sleeping, and it was realized later on, some other times in their life. They said, my God, whatever I saw, it came true. In my case, there's been many, many of them. But I've also seen a lot of other people. And they said these things were all predicted. And 95% of the scientists that I know, and you read their books, they say yes. Brain, they say, of course, human mind, which means the brain, according to them, is capable of predicting. How is this possible? How is it possible, one, to see tomorrow? I can say by thinking you can solve a problem that is not solved. But if you tell me what tomorrow is, like those prophecies of Daniel or the prophecies of John the Baptist, which are very similar, about coming of Jesus Christ, that he's coming in Elam, which is a part of Iran, and he comes in 1844, and his name is Glory of God, Baha'u'llah, and many other religions also. They're saying the same thing. So where is this power coming from? How could that be from material? We are well and alive here, completely aware with all our faculty. No one can see what happens tomorrow or 10 years from now. How is it that when we're sleeping, as Abdullah says, body is almost dead? Can you hear? You go to the body? No. Unless you speak very loud. You show your hand, can't see. The body is half dead. How is it that he comes up with a strange dream in the middle of the night and says that, oh, I had a dream my mother died. I've heard from many people. Or my father died. The guy's so serious that gets up and calls Iran and says, what happened? They said, yes, mother died. It happened to me. So how are we aware of that? That's beyond time. Matter cannot go beyond, beyond time. So this characteristic of the human being, what we have seen, it makes us to think that for sure man has an independent existence from his material body. Depending on the body, of course, to be able to be here. Body is like an astronaut suit. You want to meet one Russian astronaut wants to meet another American astronaut. They've never seen each other. First time they meet each other in the moon. They shake hand, come down and says, did you see him? He says, yeah, talk to him, yes. But they have not seen each other because they're all wearing the astronaut suit. All they saw was the body that they were wearing, the clothes. It is the same thing here. For us to exist in this life, we have to have this body, or naturally comes like this, that our spirit, which comes exactly at the time of the conceptions, as the mother and father, they fuse. A part of the male goes into the female. Immediately that happens, a part of their soul, together also in the spiritual world, combines. I will speak later on about what is the life after death according to the books and evidences. For example, mathematics exists on the other life. You remember how many times you failed in love, or how many times you were tortured when you were tortured. So you know numbers. Mathematics is a science of metaphysics and physics as well. So the part of those two spirits also as well to go together. It's like I said before, a color of blue and a yellow. They go together and they create green. The green is human being, made out of blue and made out of yellow. And their relationship is not attachment, but it's more like coincidence. One is coinciding on the other one. Imagine two lenses you have, one blue and one yellow. They're not touching each other. They're just sitting on the top of each other. And immediately, color green, that's what we see. But the reality is that the green again doesn't exist. What it is blue and yellow. And when we are asleep, some part of this gets separated. In the middle there is still green, so we're alive. But the blue gets separated, and the yellow, I'm just giving an example of the body. It is yellow because it's almost dead. It looks like dead because it doesn't move, it doesn't see, it doesn't communicate physically. Then the middle, there's still alive because there's green, but the blue is on the other side. The blue gets affected in the spiritual realm a lot. And then when in the morning they get together, it gets all translated. I have written many masnavis, which are a particular part of poetry, like the kind like Rumi did. And it would be amazing. And later on I found out in the spiritual realm, I actually sat down and I was educated by Baha'u'llah, and he taught me all of that in the spiritual realm, because I could reach his presence. And then when I wake up, the effect of those meetings was those writings that it came in me. So powerful, some of them, that when I read it back, I actually learn from myself. I'm amazed that I've said those things. That's really strange. Because the memory cannot remember everything what I discovered at one time. So then I need to return back. So I like to concentrate. This is a bit difficult, but again you have to understand, again, every element shows a characteristic. This is the property of that matter. Fire burns, water flows, wind blows. They have a characteristic of it. That is the design that comes with that matter. These small designs, when combined, they create bigger designs, such as dogs and cats and trees. When they dissolved, the big picture, just like the jigsaw puzzle, all the entire doghood goes onto those individual little pieces. And all that matters, an element, they have their properties attached to them. Therefore, the spirit of God, dog is not an independent thing from the matter. It is nothing but combinations of the properties of the matter. That's why the spirit of dog does not exist, does not follow, continue to the other side. Yes, matter always has a spirit with it, right here. Other side is not other side, it's a different plane. I shall explain that next time. That's what that is. And thinking, when man thinks and decides and does those kind of things, feelings especially, a spiritual feeling, two opposites between the two twins and between the other people, it distinctly shows that it cannot be traced back to the material. If somebody could trace all of that to the material, I said, because of the presence of this particular material, this guy's kinder, or because of the presence of that material, this man is cruel, that would be funny, because then Hitler is totally innocent. It was just the material in his brain did it. Or Jesus Christ is nothing normal, because all it was the material in his brain made him to sacrifice his life. That is absurd. Every man has a smallest midget, small dismal piece of justness and justice and fairness and balance of mind can see that it's not. And that is why we say that human being is like a driver in a car, like a man who uses the computer and he types. The words are material, but the meaning in the word, it is not material. It definitely does not come from the brain. Brain is only manifesting it. It translated into the material things. Capacity of the human being is infinite. With the same brain that we had long time ago, million years ago, and now, and another billion years ago, same brain, we're capable of doing lots of different things. So all what comes from the man is really the man behind the computer, who that is the spirit. As for the computer, which we give it a lot of credit, man and animals are pretty much the same. It says in the book, I'm not relying very much on them, it says 75% of our genome is similar to a worm right on the soil on the ground. So overemphasizing this means of communications of the body to explain human